Okay, hello and welcome. I'm Denise Wakeman, and I am one of your 3 hosts today for this Hanginar, which is what I'm calling it because it's a mashup of a Google Hangout and a webinar style interface, at least from our end and from your end as well. So that's why I call it a Hanginar. I think a few other people call it a Hanginar too. Anyway, if you are here today to learn about why you should start a podcast for your business this year, then you are in the right place. That is what our conversation is going to be about today. And with me, I have 2 of my favorite people. My partner, Britt, who is the founder of Marketing Chi and Pink Coattails, and MaAnna Stephenson, who is the founder and the geek who speaks English, who is going to be assisting us with some of our technical stuff. So let me just let you know that on the sidebar is a chat area where you can say hello. So if you want to go ahead and do that, just type in where you're hanging out from so we can say hi to you when we have a chance. That should be on your right side while you're watching this. Then I'm going to introduce you to Ellen and to MaAnna so you get to know them a little bit. And then we're going to get going. So make sure I have my notes here because I want to say the right thing about my partners here today. Britt, I actually don't really need any notes for her because I've known Ellen for many, many years now. I can't even remember when we actually met, so it's probably been about 7 or 8 years now. Britt is my partner on the Future of Ink, which is sponsoring this Hangout, and she's also the founder of pinkcoattails.com. She is also a master interviewer. She has interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, probably over the last 10 years, and she is about to launch her own podcast, and that is why we are doing this today, so that we can introduce you to what this is all about. Ellen, why don't you say hi quickly before I introduce MaAnna?
Well, hey, y'all. I have to bring my Southern personality into everything, which is why what I advise my clients is to do as well, so I wouldn't pass it up. Thank you for the kind introduction.
You're welcome. And MaAnna is the geek who can still speak explain things in English. See, I can't even speak English. Okay. Who can speak in plain English and help small businesses, solopreneurs, and non-geeks create sites that get noticed by search engines and readers. So, welcome, MaAnna. You are here because you are someone I respect and admire very, very much. You really know how to get to the nitty-gritty of things and, explain things so that I can understand them and that your non-techie clients can understand them. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Delighted to be here.
All right, and we have people calling in here from just moving dots around. Okay. I don't know what that means, but Kim from Denver, Marcy from Minneapolis, Angela from Missouri, Marge from Pasadena, Florida, Bob from Northern California, Karen from Ottawa, Canada, one of my favorite cities in the world. I lived there for 2 years. I loved it. Vida from Toronto, Sherry from New York, Ginger in Phoenix, Rosh from Spain. Wow, cool.
Ooh,
Donald from Mexico City. More Canadians today. We have David from West Lorne, Ontario. I don't know where that is. We have Laura from Chaparral, New Mexico. We have Pete from Largo, Florida. All right, so we've got a wide and varied audience, and we're really excited to have you here. I am now going to turn this over to my dear friend and colleague, Britt, so we can jump into the 4 reasons why you should be starting a podcast for your business now.
Okay, well, I'm going to kind of act as the moderator because we've got a lot of expertise with us on this. What did you call this, Denise?
Hanginar.
A Hanginar. I couldn't remember that. A Hanginar, okay. I'm not going to get that one. Anyway, I'd like to start off any training I'm involved in with a promise. And I know Denise and MaAnna do as well, but this is my promise. We're going to show you exactly why podcasting has exploded so suddenly. Now, granted, podcasting's been around, what, Denise, since about 2005, I think.
2004, 2003,
2004,
yeah.
somewhere like this. But it was kind of smoldering in the background a little bit. And over the past, I would say, year to 18 months, it's really, really exploded. And so we want to show you what this means for your business. We also, provided we have time, want to get into 3 ways you can monetize a podcast if you decide to start one for your business, and what you have to do to take advantage of this opportunity. This is going to be right for some people, and some people probably shouldn't start a podcast. So we're going to get into a discussion about that. And I think you're going to be quite surprised at some of the things you're going to learn. Specifically, I want to mention something that's just happened in the last few weeks, and yes, I'm going to tease you here. It's going to make a huge impact before this year is out. Now, I promise you that before this webinar is over, you're going to understand, and probably better than 99% of other business people, why podcasting is something that you not only want to pay close attention to, but we're going to talk about how to make it work for you and your business. We're going to give you, of course, all the value that we can today, and we also know that for some of you that's not going to be enough. You know, I know that already. Some of you will want to go much, much further with this, and later on we will tell you how you can do exactly that in a really fun, unusual program that's going to go way beyond a simple online class, all right? But for right now, we are trusting that we have the right audience today, because if you're here, you're either participating live or we're done and you're watching the recording, right? But I'm sure that you've been hearing some wild things about podcasting. Denise, you've heard some pretty wild claims, haven't you, about podcasting, or
Well,
at least the excitement that's going on, right?
I am really, I actually have to laugh because I started a podcast in 2005, and so now in the last year where everybody is jumping on board the podcasting bandwagon, it's kind of funny because it's like it's this brand new thing, and it's not.
Right.
It's been here for a long time, but I think podcasting just was ahead of its time. But it's really exciting because there's such an opportunity here today, and I've actually restarted a podcast. And before I go much further, I inadvertently left somebody out that I didn't name, and she's feeling traumatized, and so I want to give a call out because I'm really sorry, Sally. Sally from Northern California is here with us too, so welcome, Sally, and I apologize for leaving you out when I was naming people. There's also a lot of other people who've come on since, and I welcome you all. I welcome you all. So now, very diplomatic.
So maybe you're just a little bit unsure about what all this means for you. I kind of know that I was when I started out looking at this, and I had some questions. You know, it's like, is this going to be for me? And is this just another fad? You know, like all of you, I have too much to keep up with already. You know, and unlike MaAnna, I'm not a techie. All right. And when I first started recording my own audios, I don't know about you and MaAnna, but I hated the sound of my own voice initially. I was like, I sound like that, you know? So that's something I had to, you know, get over along the way. So today's a two-way street. This is going to be, well, a three-way street. It's going to be a conversation among me and my colleagues, Denise Wakeman and MaAnna Stephenson, but it's also a conversation between the three of us and you, our audience, because we have a commitment to deliver really great content to you today. So in return, turnabout's fair play, right? I'd like to have a commitment from you as well that during this webinar, we're going to have your full attention. Now, that means you won't be answering emails or looking at pictures of cute cats on Facebook. It doesn't mean that you can't tweet about what we're doing here, or as long as it's, you know, related to the course. But seriously, we want you to actually be taking in and thinking about what we're discussing, okay, and giving us your opinions and thoughts in the chat room. And how can they do that, Denise, for those who may not have attended before?
Okay, well there is a chat box on the right side. I believe it's on your right side. It's on my right side, so I'm hoping it's also on your right side. We do have people using it, saying hello and where they're coming in from, hanging out from. So it looks like it's working, and that's a
Okay,
good
great.
thing.
All right. So we want to encourage you to use that chat room. And if you have questions that come up, go ahead and type those questions in, and we'll get to those at some point in the time that we have. And if you have comments, please go ahead and put that in. And of course, we will have an offer for you at the end, but not until we absolutely deliver on our promise to you. So ready to get started, Denise and
Let's
MaAnna?
go.
All right. So
Absolutely.
I think a question that I've heard a lot, especially from my colleagues and from friends, is what is podcasting exactly? Okay. Now, a lot of us have had audios hosted on our sites, and folks can come and play it, and they can even download it. But in my mind, what makes podcasting unique is the ability for it to be syndicated. And some people have a problem with that word, syndicated. It just means it's distributed, right, through a special URL, and that's known as an RSS feed. So, you record your show, you upload it to a host, and then syndication or distribution services, and the biggest, of course, is Apple iTunes, is going to pull your show's RSS feed and then send the most recent episodes out. And people can actually subscribe to your audios. Now, to me, that's the essence of podcasting. Do you have anything, Denise, that you want to add to a definition of what exactly is podcasting that would make this clearer for our audience?
Well, I think you've made it pretty clear, and I think really that the thing that you pointed out is that it's about being able to subscribe, so it's an automated system for your audience. So, for example, probably most of you, I would be surprised if most of you haven't, checked out iTunes at this point in time. I think, what has it been around, 10 years now?
Yeah, a long time.
Almost a decade it's been around. So, you go to iTunes, you click on podcasts, and then you look at the vast array of shows that people are hosting, and you click a button that says subscribe, and then every time you log on to iTunes, it downloads the latest episode. That is a beautiful thing. And iTunes isn't the only one where you can do that. So that's the beauty of this, because you can reach an audience far, far, far bigger than you can, through your website or your social networks.
MaAnna, what about you, coming from a technical point of view, without getting, too heavy into the RSS feed thing, which I know you can? Did I nail it or not in terms of what a podcast is, in your opinion? You have anything to add?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got it just exactly right, and that's all it is. It's very much like subscribing to someone's YouTube channel or even an RSS to email. So if you're subscribed to someone's blog post, that's going out on an RSS feed as well.
Okay, yeah. Great.
Automatic delivery, that's what we like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to, I know, Denise introduced us, but I also want to just underscore that Denise was in that first wave of podcasters. She's got a new podcast available. This just came up, just available on iTunes. That's Adventures in Visibility, right?
Adventures in Visibility, yep.
Yeah. Yep. And MaAnna, of course, is a veteran podcaster as well as a technical and audio engineer. And MaAnna, your podcast, the name of yours is what?
Tips Tuesday.
Tips Tuesday. So we'll be talking about, and these are very different formats, and that's something that we're going to be talking about too. Now, my podcast is not launched yet. We're recording presently, but I've produced and hosted over a dozen telesummits, and I've interviewed many of the most successful names in self-development and online marketing, including names like Dr. Joe Vitale and Andrea J. Lee and Dr. Al Sears and Dr. Gene Houston, etc. So I bring that kind of interviewing piece into this, and interviewing, of course, is a very popular podcasting format. All right, so let's get into this now and talk first about why should you care about the audience that you can build from hosting your own podcast. There's a hint there, the audience that you can build from hosting your own podcast. And there's lots of reasons for this. Now, people are flooding into this, and the opportunity is still extremely good. Over the last year, many people are coming on board in this space. And like everything else in the marketing world, the podcasting space is going to get crowded and much more competitive. You can just take that to the bank. It happens with every single thing that comes out. But in my opinion, we are still in the early stages, even though podcasting itself has been around a long time. Denise put it very, very well. It's like it was ahead of its time, you know. And so there was a lot of groundwork that was laid for it, but it's just now becoming more popular. And we're gonna tell you some things that are just going to blow you away, I think, in terms of why this is happening. But I want you to start to think of podcasting as a content marketing and delivery system, okay? Because that's, Denise, if you could just speak to that. Content marketing delivery is what it's all about when it comes to online marketing. You have to have a strong system. And I think there's lots of folks that are kind of not thinking about podcasting as being that at all. They're just thinking, oh, I don't want to do a podcast. That's just another thing I have to do. When I'm thinking about it is a superb content marketing and delivery system. What do you think?
Okay. Audio is probably, between audio and video, they're both very intimate ways to deliver content. And so when you think about it, there's always people in your audience who want to get that content, consume that content in the way that suits them the best. So it's not about you. You got to remember that. It's not about you. If you want to attract the right audience, and that audience, when I say that, I mean clients and customers too. If you want to attract them, you've got to give them content that they can consume in the way that they get it. So, you know, we're very familiar with written content for blogging and status updates on your social media. We're even, you know, using a lot of images now, so we're doing visual marketing. Then there's video marketing, which is what, you know, it's kind of like what we're doing right now. We're having a video chat here, and, you know, we're looking at you in our camera, you're looking at us, and we're having an intimate connection here through the power of live streaming video. Well, audio takes that level of intimacy to another level, because it's about putting that content right in somebody's ear. So you're like talking in their head, you know, and that's pretty darn intimate. And that is why it's important to consider providing your content in multiple formats. So written, video, and audio, and that's where the podcasting comes in. And I think a lot of people think of podcasting is that they have to create something brand new. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to create something brand new to have a podcast. That is not what I'm doing. Somebody asked a question, Laura asked a question, is it better podcasting or a Hang-in-Our webinar, you know, hangout? Well, I do both. And what I'm doing is I'm doing, you know, I don't know if I'm premature here in talking about this, but just
well,
to
that's
give
okay.
you
You
an
can,
example.
yeah, give them a hint there, because we are going to be getting into that.
Yeah, so my example is that I start with the video, the hangout, where I'm interviewing a guest, and then I take that content, and there's an image, a video image, and there's an audio track, and I take that audio track, and now I'm going to make that a podcast, so that people can get that content however they want it, whether it's video, written, or audio. So
I think light bulbs are going off over people's heads as you say that, Denise, because you're doing one thing and you're getting a podcast, you're getting a webinar, you're getting stuff to go on your blog, and you're getting exposure in YouTube. What could be better, right? What could be better? So, like I said, I think we're still in the early stages for this, so please don't be discouraged about this. A strong start for you this year is going to pay off for you, not only this year, but many years to come, all right? Now, by some estimates, and I looked this up last night, so I think this is correct, there are 450 million English language blogs, with a new one being started somewhere in the English-speaking world every half second. That is just astounding to me, astounding, okay? So no matter what your niche, if you're thinking about, and I'm not saying don't start a blog, I'm not saying that, but in the blogging space, your niche is saturated. I don't care what it is, all right? It's saturated with hundreds and maybe even thousands of other bloggers, all right? And maybe you thought about putting videos on YouTube, and that's a great thing to do, but consider this. There are 4 million hours of new video content a month going on to YouTube, okay? That's just astounding to me, all right? Now, in contrast, there are because no one really knows how many, but there are about 225,000 active podcasts. That means their RSS feed is active, but many of them are not putting up new content. Many of them have poor quality content, and if you've poked around on iTunes a lot, you know for many of them the audio is terrible, all right? So do you think those podcasts are going to last? Probably not, okay? Because what's going to happen is, I like to think of it this way, Denise and MaAnna, it's like, when was MySpace in its heyday, you know? I don't know.
2005 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And you could go there, or you could go to a website. It's like, oh, they've got a website, you know, and you go there and there's like little angel graphics floating around and music that plays and harpsichords in the background and flashing banners. And people put up with it because that's all we knew, right? Or that whole kind of flashy MySpace thing. Now, nobody's going to have a website like that at the time of day. So the same thing is going to happen with podcasting. All of these people that started up podcasts, they're inconsistent. They have terrible quality of production quality. Those things, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that later, but those things are going to go down the tubes pretty fast because people who are going to come in and take the time to give quality content and make sure their production quality is stellar, there's just going to be no comparison, and they're going to lose audience share. Would you agree, Denise?
About the good ones are going to take the audience share from the bad ones. Absolutely.
Yeah, you've seen that in blogging, right?
Yeah.
We've all seen that in blogging.
Absolutely. The cream rises to the top. And
right.
there are outstanding podcasts being produced now.
That's
outstanding.
Right.
And that's where you want to go if you decide to do this, is and it's not that hard, and you're going to get to that, so I'm not going to go there.
Well, I was going to say, too, that for many people, they're rushing to get their podcast up. They're going to start off with a bang, and then they're going to lose interest, all right? Because one thing that's happening out there's this mistaken impression, that you can launch a podcast and you can get, I don't know, tens of thousands of downloads overnight, and you can make gobs of money from sponsors and selling your products overnight. That is just patently false, okay? We are not here to say that at all. It's like every other platform, regardless of what any slick internet marketer is going to tell you, this platform, like any other, is going to take time, okay? I want everybody in the audience to nod your head. It's going to take time, all right? But I believe that the time it's going to take you to build a significantly engaged audience is going to be way less than if you started a blog today. And Denise, you could speak to that probably better than I can because you have a lot more blogging experience than I do.
Yeah, in 2004 when I started my blog, and I wasn't even, in the first wave, I was kind of like right behind that first wave.
Yeah.
It was easy to get noticed, and we didn't have any social media then. We had email, and you were really on top of it if you had RSS to email so that people get blog updates by email. So, at that time, you could get noticed a lot easier. Now you have to work a lot harder to get your blog seen and noticed and get subscribers, etc., because there's 400 million blogs in the world, and another one every half second. So, it's the same thing. If you get in at the beginning, at the front of the wave, you're going to be in a lot better position than if you wait until there's 2 million podcasts.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't do it in time with, get in on that first wave with blogging, but I see the opportunity with podcasting, and that's where in my own company, I'm running toward podcasting as fast as I can. The Future of Ink, mine and Denise's digital publication blog, is going to be running toward this because we just take the Future of Ink, for example. We've been going, about 2 years now. We have an Alexa ranking dipping under 60,000 now, which is pretty darn good. It's taken us 2 years. And we're not even writing. We write the occasional article. We have other people writing for us. And that's several hours, even then on our part, a week, and other people writing for us to get to that mark. So it's just a huge opportunity there. And like Denise said a few minutes ago, and I don't know if you caught this, when you do a podcast, you are in the ears. You're actually in the head of your audience because they are listening to you on headphones, right? These little earbuds right there.
Earbuds.
Yeah, that's right. And MaAnna, you're doing your podcast and you're doing tips, which is a pretty short format. Tell me about the engagement that you've gotten with your audience. What have you found from doing your podcast?
Well, mainly that I don't waste people's time. I think a lot of the podcasts and videos are just talking heads sometimes, and they're not very informative. And so I'm very respectful of people's time and that they're listening to this because they're on the go. That's the whole point of a podcast is they don't have time
Right.
to sit still maybe and watch a video. And, wearable tech is coming as well. And so that's really for people on the go to be able to listen to these things. And so, getting right to the meat of something and being respectful of people's time is what's made one of my things that's made it popular for me. And tips, because it's relevant, it's news, and it's the things that they need to know right now and what's going on online right now that they can jump in on. So being fresh and being to the point makes a lot of difference.
Fantastic. Well, I want to touch on why exactly this is happening because this is a movement that it's just like blogging was back in the older days. It's exploding, and I want you to understand as a business owner why this is happening. For one thing, if you remember, it wasn't but a few years ago that we had dial-up internet access, right? You had to wait for the modem tone and the whole thing. Now nearly everybody has broadband internet access, and it's only getting faster. Every time, your cable company or whoever, every 6 months, it's like, don't you want to upgrade to a faster package? We've got a faster package. So why that's important is because it makes downloading files so much quicker and easier. And this fast internet access is coming to smartphones as well. So now you're not tied to your desktop. Your customers, your potential listeners are not tied to their desktop anymore. The other thing that's happening is that this is an app world now, right? There's apps and software on both sides of the fence. Apps to make consumption of your podcast easy and apps to make production easy. And the other thing that's happening is their major companies have already jumped on board. I don't know about you, but I listen to a ton of National Public Radio podcasts, and I never even really thought of being podcasts. I just kind of stumbled across their app in the iTunes store, and I listen to the Splendid Table now, which is a great foods show, and I listen to Terry Gross's Fresh Air through an app. Those are podcasts. So this has brought podcasting into an accepted place in mainstream media. Now, coming to cars this fall, and in some cars it may have already arrived, there's a company called Stitcher, and this is a fantastic app. I use Stitcher a lot to listen to podcasts. It is being installed in many new models this fall and in 2015. That's going to revolutionize podcasting and bring a whole new audience because people are going to be able to sit in their cars, dial up a podcast, just like they do a radio show now. Plus, there's something else that's happening in just a few weeks that's huge that I'm going to tease you about. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a little bit more about the advantages to you, all right? And both Denise and MaAnna have both touched on these, but people are connected everywhere. I was in the dentist office the other day with my teenage daughter. Every single person in the waiting room, including older people, younger people of both sexes, and little people, all had a connected device. All of them. I was astounded, all right? Podcasts also are an ears-only medium. You can be folding laundry, you can be walking your dog, you can be at the gym exercising, and your voice, your message, your personality can be in their heads. And they're going to want your message, not somebody else's message. So it's an ears-only medium. Video is very, very popular, but about the only thing you can do while watching a video is eating a sandwich, okay? So, I really want to drill this into you, that this is an unparalleled opportunity for you to get into the heads of your audience. Anything to add to that, Denise or MaAnna?
I like that only thing you can do while you're watching a video. Well, I'm sure that people can do other things while they're watching a video too.
Well,
but the point is,
that's really inviting some terrible comments. I'm
yes,
sure.
it is. It is.
Okay.
But
Sorry
you
about
know,
that.
but I think that the point is that you're making, and that needs to be stressed, is that it's an on-the-go opportunity, so that people can take you with them wherever they are. So, I tend to listen to podcasts when I'm at the gym, when I'm running, and when I'm flying somewhere, because that's when I catch up on them. I don't listen to them when I'm at home because I'm doing other stuff. But, when I'm out and about doing something else, I can listen. And I think that's really the big deal here with a podcast, is that rather than counting on people to read on their smartphone your blog post that's this big, the type, or going to their desktop and reading it, they can actually consume it while they're doing something else.
Absolutely. And as MaAnna said, she's got her podcast down to tips, because she likes to be respectful of folks' time. She can put it out quite often, and it's just a great way to do it. Now, I'm kind of a geeky person myself, but not so much in the tech realm. I'm more of a research academic type, so I always have to come up with a formula. So I have a 3-part formula for a successful podcast, and if I had a blackboard, I would write on it, but I don't. But it's N plus GC plus PQ. Okay, now let me see if I can remember what those things stand for.
And I'll type it in.
All right, type it in. N. Okay.
N plus GC.
GC plus PQ equals success, right?
What is it? HPQ equals.
HPQ. Okay. N plus GC plus HPQ. I added to my formula a little bit before I sent it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to equal a successful podcast. Okay. Now, N is going to be, and you may have guessed this already, N is going to be your niche, all right? Gone are the days when you can just get out there and talk about anything. The people who are going to be most successful in podcasting are going to have a specific niche. And this is true of anything you do, whether you're going into blogging or any other kind of internet or online marketing business. You need to niche down to a specific area of expertise and target market. Okay? That's just essential. All right? Now, the GC is great content. And that's kind of one of those like Homer Simpson, well, no kind of things. But people are overlooking it. You have to deliver great content because the standards are going up. We all can see it in the blogging world about these stellar articles that get put out there and just blow people away. And you're thinking, boy, the bar just got raised on that one, right? So you're going to have to put out great content. That just goes without saying. But the other one, the HPQ, did you have something to say about that one?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that and say that, you should be producing great content anyway.
That's right.
So this isn't really like, all of a sudden I have to produce great content. You're probably already doing that because you are blogging or you are sharing content, you're curating content, you're writing ebooks, you're writing books, you're doing webinars, whatever you're doing, you're already producing great content. So that's where I doubt anybody who's listening, watching is producing crap. So
yeah,
we'll just assume you're producing great content.
Right. I think there's a few people out there that think though that are maybe not doing anything and they just running into podcasting is the first thing they're doing and they're just forgetting. They just don't know. Hey, you got to produce great content. The HPQ is high production quality. All right. Let's say you're in your car, your potential customers in the car, they're listening to a beautifully high quality podcast from NPR, and then your podcast comes up next. And you've got a tinny sound. You sound like you're broadcasting from a tuna can, right? An old tuna can that hadn't been washed out. And they're going to go, oh, this stinks, right? So The comparison is going to be there, and you've got to have high production quality. All right, that's going to give you some initial success, but that's not going to be all you need. You're going to need to combine that with smart marketing and a consistent promotional program in order to succeed. I think I've got Denise tickled there. She can't.
You are on a comedy roll here today, Ellen.
Just didn't know I was so funny, right? Right.
No, really.
Anyway,
I love all these.
I love the old tuna can that hasn't been washed out. That's for it sinking.
Well, but really,
great.
how many times do you get on a podcast and you think, and I'm beginning to get a little, as you begin to listen, you may not notice this to begin with, but as you continue to listen, and you're listening to high quality podcasts, and then somebody else comes on, my ear is going, oh, it sounds so echoey. Are they in a gymnasium broadcasting this, or a bare room? It does tend to stand out. So all joking aside, you really have to pay attention to high production quality, and it doesn't take that much. There are so many, and MaAnna could probably speak to this better than I can, but there are so many inexpensive computer apps and microphones and software that it's going to let you do a super job with this, so that you can get away. I don't know, what do you think a low-level budget would be, MaAnna, for somebody who's wanting to start a podcast?
$30.
$30. Wow, that's on the okay. So that's probably what, a headset like the one you're wearing?
Like this one.
Okay, what is it?
It's a Plantronics, but it's a little bit better quality. This one is really good, but it's got a nice pop filter built in, since it's so close to your mouth. So it's just a little low on the high end. But something like this, it's Plantronics as well. It doesn't have a pop filter, so you get a lot of explosives, like so you have to be careful where you place it. And there's all kinds of tricks for things like that. But I think the best compliment that I get from my podcast is when I talk to clients live, they say, "Wow, you sound just like you do on your podcast." And no radio voice. You don't necessarily need to doctor it up into this crazy radio voice with $500 mics that are this big sticking in your face and whatever. You really just don't need all of that. And mixers and $5,000 worth of equipment. I've got $5,000. I've got tens of thousands of dollars of equipment in a professional recording studio. I record on this. A USB mic for the podcast. So I have everything I ever wanted at my disposal, and there's just no need in that. You can sound really good on the cheap if you know what you're doing in the editing. You can fix that in the mix too.
And most people have a computer already, or if you wouldn't probably be an online business if you didn't. Or you can use what I'm using here, which is the ATR 2100 microphone, which is less than $100.
That's is an excellent mic.
A USB mic, and it's very, very good. Now, I'm looking at the time here. I can't believe that the clock is racing away on us here, but I want to be sure to get to the thing that's happened in the past few days, and I want to get to some monetization. That's one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, Ellen, how are you going to monetize this? Because we all want to make great content and stuff, but we all want to know that we can also put groceries on the table and make a living as well. And I know social media, it got such a big hype a few years ago, and a lot of people are still having some problems in terms of actually seeing the monetization for that. So we want to get into that, but there's a couple of things that we want to say about that. But we also promised you at the beginning of this that we had an offer for you. So with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about that, because this is a way you can learn to podcast in 3 days. And we're going to come back. We're going to come back to the monetization. We're going to take your questions. If we have time, we're going to get into some more equipment and formatting things. But this way that you can learn to podcast in 3 days is not going to be sitting in front of your computer with a bunch of do-it-yourself video tutorials. It's going to be a live and in-person podcasting camp with Denise and with MaAnna and me at our 10-person only podcasting camp. And it's going to be August 20th through the 23rd at beautiful Serenbe Farms, just south of Atlanta, Georgia. If you haven't been to beautiful Serenbe Farms, you're going to be in for a treat. Now, you're going to learn in an immersive, beautiful, relaxed environment with plenty of time to try things out, not just take notes. And I see Denise, she's got this like look of bliss on her face when she's thinking about Serenbe Farms there, right, Denise?
So beautiful there. Oh, I love it there.
Yeah, yeah. But we're going to take you through a process that's going to help you define your niche, because remember, in the three-part formula for the successful podcast, you've got to define your niche first and your audience. We're going to help you to know exactly what you should be podcasting about, what equipment you need for the type of show you want to produce, and we can go on the cheap to first class, all right? Interviewing skills are going to make you sound like a pro, all right? How to get guests, all right? How did I get to interview Dr. Joe Vitale? How did I get to interview Dr. Jean Houston? And when I did that, I had 0 names on my list, okay? 0 names. So it's possible. I know all those tricks. Where to host your files, how to submit your podcast to iTunes and the other directories, but above all, a strategic marketing and visibility plan that's going to build an engaged audience for you as quickly as possible. We're also going to do some stuff about mobile podcasting, as I think that every time I say that, Denise, and I don't know about you, MaAnna, but every time I say mobile podcasting, everybody goes, oh, mobile podcasting, tell me more. And that just means that you're able to go out to a conference, perhaps, with minimal equipment, grab some interviews in the hallway, and bring them back and make your podcast that way, or even produce your podcast completely out of your studio. It's very exciting. MaAnna is going to be there to handle all of your technical questions and show you how to do things, aren't you, MaAnna?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, she is. She's the kind of gal that, I love that. She's a geek who speaks English. And if there's something you don't understand, you need a plug-in install, she's going to be sitting there with you at your computer and helping you do that, okay? We're also going to have Denise's stellar expertise in the Hangout world. Now, Denise, how many Hangouts have you done now?
Ooh, I don't know, but I've been doing them for over a year now, pretty consistently, and I am a Google fangirl, a Hangout fangirl. I love them, and I also love to repurpose content. So we're going to be covering, how you can do your podcast, how you can combine the two, doing Hangouts and podcasts together so that you can reach an even bigger audience, which is always what I like to do, is see how many people I can reach with my message. And that, I imagine, is what you want too, is how can you transform more lives? How can you reach a bigger audience? And so I'm going to talk about how I do it with a combination of Hangouts and blogging and podcasting.
And it's not going to be 3 days of us just talking to you either. We are going to actually do some hands-on stuff. You're going to have plenty of opportunity to experiment and to try equipment. I'm going to bring my equipment, my microphones, and my Zoom H4n recorder. I'm sure MaAnna will have some stuff there, and we're actually going to do it. I was thinking maybe we'll even do a hangout, a live hangout from Serenbe. Denise, what do you think?
Sure.
Yeah. Get people on and get them going, okay? We're also going to feed you supper, as we say in the South, and that's going to be barbecue. Of course, if you don't eat meat, we will take care of you as well. And we're going to walk and sit on the porch and talk over supper, and you're going to connect with like-minded people that you are likely to become friends and future JV partners with for the rest of your lives, okay? Now, we've negotiated an awesome room rate for our podcast campers, and that includes, and Denise knows this well, a farm cook, sit down at the table, country breakfast every morning you are there. So we're not talking about donuts in the corner at all. We're talking about Miss Betty, unless she's on vacation, in which case it'll be Miss Marie. But right now, how many places do we have left, Denise?
I think we have six spots left right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think you have the offer up there for them so that they could actually go ahead and sign up if they wanted. We have admission to camp is usually $12.97. For the next 24 hours, we're going back to our early bird special price of $9.97. That's a savings of $300 if you purchase your ticket within that time frame. So you have 24 hours to do that. After that, you're going to no longer be able to purchase directly, but you'll need to have a phone interview with me. Now, if you do not want to purchase, and you have specific questions and you need to talk to me, you need to schedule an interview with me pronto, okay? I will honor the price if you will schedule that interview with me within the next couple of days, okay? Next 2-3 days or so, depending on your time and mine. And how can they do that, Denise?
That's at thefutureofinc.com/camp.
Okay, camp is all lowercase, I think?
Yes. And I just want to mention that we want to make this as easy as possible. And so you can either pay in full, you can do a 2-pay plan, or you can do a 3-pay plan. So we make it as easy as possible for you to come on board, because we know this is an opportunity that needs to be jumped on as soon as possible for you to get out there in front of your audience as soon as possible.
Yes, and I want to encourage you, if you have specific questions, and you have all 3 of us here, please type them into the chat box and let us address those. And of course, as soon as you are in, we're going to contact you with the information you need and to secure your room at Serenbe and to join us in August. Denise, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
What I would like to add is that we would love to work with you on this, because this is not just an online course. This is actually, it's not an online course at all. This is an in-person event where we're going to work very specifically with a small, intimate group to help you start your podcast. Or if you already started one and you're having trouble with, getting more subscribers, or maybe there's some tech issues, we're going to help you through that. And it also is going to be combining how to put together a marketing and visibility plan. Marketing and visibility are our expertise. All of us are experts in this area, and we want to help you make sure that you're successful. And doing it live in person over 3 days is the best way to do it. You're not on your own. You've got 3 brains working with you.
And I think for a lot of people, and I hope I don't sound sexist here, but I hear this more from women than I do from men. They're afraid of the technical aspects of podcasting. So we've got you covered there. Come to camp, and if you're a tech-phobic man, you come too, and we will get you taken care of. We have MaAnna here, who is the geek's geek, who speaks English, and you've got Denise, who's been through this, and me, who's going through it right now, and we will get your questions answered, get you set up, and you will walk away with everything you need to get your podcast up and running. Now, we're also going to have, I think, a pre-camp hangout, aren't we, Denise?
Yep.
About a week prior, and then we're going to have 2 follow-up hangouts after camp is over to answer your remaining questions and to help keep those connections going. Plus, we'll have a private Google Plus group to get you connected with the faculty and to get you connected with your fellow campers. Somebody asked me the other day, Denise, they said, we're not going to be camping out in tents, are we? That's not what we mean by camp. Serenbe Farms is a gorgeous 900-acre private southern resort community, very informal but beautiful, beautiful cottages, beautiful accommodations. You will not be camping in a tent. So let's just lay that to rest. It has a pool, a saltwater swimming pool. They have a jacuzzi. They've got walking trails, a full-size labyrinth, 3 restaurants on the property. The Serenbe was founded by Steve and Marie Nygren, who are restaurant folks. Marie's mother, the late Margaret Lupo, founded Mary Mac's Tea Room in Atlanta, which is just an iconic Southern restaurant. So I just have 3 words for you. Come on, well, 4 words. Come on down, y'all, and join us at Podcasting Camp. Okay, so we'll be happy to entertain your questions there, but I want to get back to our content, unless, Denise, you have anything else to add there.
Go for it.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about monetization, because a lot of folks are like, okay, tell me what's in it for me in terms of doing a podcast. Tell me how this is going to be worth my while. So I want to lay out the ways in which you can monetize a podcast. And this, to me, is much clearer than just taking a course in social media, unless it's specifically related to driving Facebook ads through some kind of funnel. Social media has a very kind of nebulous sort of return on investment. Podcasting has a very, very clear path to monetization. I want to lay that out for you, okay? The first way is that business and opportunities are going to come your way because you have a podcast. All right, you are going to be seen as an expert. You're going to be asked to be a guest on other people's podcasts. You are going to get clients, and it's going to enhance your reputation as an authority in your niche. I think you can already speak to that, can't you, Denise, in terms of just doing Hangouts? You're getting clients already from this. Is that not true?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Denise is already seeing business, and that's an indirect way that she's monetizing. You're not selling anything on these Hangouts, at least at this time, right? And so, and you've gotten what? I was astounded. I went to your Google Plus profile the other day. You have over 1 million views on your Google Plus profile. It's just astounding to me. So business and opportunities are going to come your way because you have a podcast. Are you seeing the same thing happening because of your podcast, MaAnna? What opportunities have come your way because of it?
Oh, yeah, keeping people informed about what's going on and being very fresh with it. I get to be the go-to person for folks and known for that, so they want to check in with me. They want to hear what I've got to say about anything that's going on with stuff like that. So absolutely. So builds expertise and authority. You're
becoming what I like to call, you have the Larry King effect, okay? And that's especially true when you interview folks too. And I know you've brought on many guests, Denise. You are seen as an expert by association. Larry King didn't get famous by interviewing. He became famous because he rubbed shoulders with other famous people, and then he kind of became famous in his own right. Now, that's the first way for monetization, is business and opportunities that come your way because you have a podcast. The second way is that you can directly advertise your own programs and services. So within your podcast, you can say, I want everybody to know that in 2 weeks, I've got a new membership site that's opening, or I have a new book that's coming out, or I have a new online course that I'm teaching. You can directly advertise your own products and services. And because you have built an engaged audience that knows, likes, and trusts you, and they tune into your show on a regular basis, they are going to go to you before they go to anyone else. It's just kind of a no-brainer, all right? And you can do this from the get-go. You don't have to have huge numbers of people, especially if you are looking for individual clients or even selling your own products and services. You do not have to have huge numbers of downloads, okay? Now, the third way that you can monetize your content is that you can do an affiliate program. Let's say you're interviewing people, you have an interview show, and people mention a product or service that they like, or their own product or service on your program, you can then do your show notes on your blog, and you can link to them through an affiliate link. When your listeners go over to the show notes, they click the affiliate link, go through, and if they make a purchase, you get a commission. Now, perhaps a one-time commission, that's probably not going to pay your mortgage, but over time, these things are going to add up. And as you get more shows online and get more programs up there, this content is evergreen, y'all. This is not going to go away. As new people come flooding into the podcasting listening audience, they're going to go back. Many people will listen to every single thing you put out. They're going to listen to your earlier shows. They're going to listen to episode number 1 through 10, and they're going to listen to episode number 5,000 if you're still around, and we hope you are. So those affiliate links will still be good. It works that way in blogging, and it's going to work that way in podcasting. You have anything you want to add to that, Denise, in terms of the affiliate stuff? It works really well for blogging, and I just can't see any reason why it's not going to be transferable over to podcasting.
It's definitely transferable, and there's plenty of people who are making money from affiliates and from their own products and services by using their podcast. I mean, look at Pat Flynn with what's it called? Smart
Passive Income. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And Ask Pat, and Social Media Examiner with their social media marketing podcast. Right, I mean, they use that as their primary vehicle to promote their seminar, their online teleseminars, and their live conference event, and and they do better than just about anybody else in the space because of that.
In fact,
I have clients as well that have direct sponsorship too,
and
they have a very targeted audience, and sponsors are clamoring to get to them.
And that's the fourth way. So MaAnna's right on the money. When you get enough downloads, you can get people, companies, to actually sponsor your podcast. And MaAnna has a great point. If you are very niche focused, your download numbers don't have to be as high as somebody who's going to, say, advertise audiobooks or something, right? Let's just say you were a fishing podcast and you specialized in trout fishing in the Smoky Mountains, right? Well, don't you think maybe Orvis or Cabela or some of the big sporting goods places are going to come after you and say, hey, we'd really love to get in front of your targeted engaged audience, because they know they're going to get a return from their money. So you've got several ways that you can monetize. You've got, because of your podcast, you can advertise your own programs and services, you can have affiliate programs, and you can have actual sponsors. And then there's a fifth way, of course, you can do a combination of those things. So I think the path to monetization is clearer for me than it ever has been for just generic social media, I think. So, Denise, are you seeing any questions in our chat room from anybody?
Well, I have to say that I was having some trouble with the chat thing, and I lost all the questions.
Oh no! Oh no!
I have a few that have come in recently, but somebody is asking about Fredina. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Is asking about Google Plus work with a class of 40 or more for weekly webinars. Yes, it absolutely would work for that, for Google Hangouts. Pam says MaAnna is her go-to guru. I know that's not a question, but she's also MaAnna is also my go-to guru as well. Denise, who are the names you just gave? Okay, of the podcasts where they are monetizing for sure is Smart Passive Income by Pat Flynn, Social Media Marketing by Social Media Examiner, and you can go onto iTunes and do a search on any of these. Well, MaAnna is monetizing hers by the fact that she gets clients from hers, and that's Tips Tuesday. Let's see.
And Michael Hyatt's This Is Your Life, he is a superb example of someone who uses his podcast to advertise his own products and services. Now, he just changed up his format. I assume they're still doing that, but his first 100 episodes, he did a superb job. So if you want a model for that, look at Michael Hyatt's This Is Your Life. It's a very nicely produced podcast as well.
This Is Your Life, Michael Hyatt. So any of those, you can do a search on them and find them. Great suggestion.
Excellent. So if you have questions and they disappeared into the ether, please feel free to type those back in, and we will try to get to those. But I wanted to, I know I teased you at the beginning with, I said this is an announcement that was coming. One thing that the iTunes announced that they have, what do you call it? I'm losing my train of thought here. Their new iOS is being released, probably in early September. And this is a rumor, but it's pretty well substantiated, that the podcast app that iTunes has, that you used to have to go to the App Store and download, it's now going to be permanently installed on all iOS devices, which means it cannot be deleted. Apple is expected to sell 80 million new iOS devices in the fourth quarter of 2014. That's going to be a huge new audience for podcasting. Okay, this is a huge opportunity, right? Now, if you combine that with the car thing, Stitcher, and then Apple's CarPlay, and now the other day, Android is getting into the act. Google just unveiled just a couple days ago that the Android, I think it's a voice thing, is coming into cars, and they released what they call the Android Auto SDK, so developers can quickly offer their apps in users' vehicles. Well, guess who their first partners are? Pandora, Spotify, Songza, and yes, Stitcher for podcast. All right.
That's amazing.
It is. The audience is about to explode for podcasting. So whether you learn from us at Podcasting Camp or you learn from somebody else, I strongly encourage you to get on the podcasting train in one form or another, because it is going to leave the station. It's going to leave quickly. I think if you get your podcast up and running this year, you'll be fine. But get out there. this is one of those things. I think back to the blogging, a dozen years ago, and thinking now, I think, oh, I wish I knew then what I know now about blogging. I can say the exact same thing about podcasting, only now you're on the right side of the fence. We do know now, and in 10 years from now, you think, boy, I'm so glad I got in that when I did. So please, we'd love to have you join us at Podcasting Camp. I think that offer is up there for you. You can just click on the link. If you want to talk to me further about that, I'd be happy to hop on the phone with any of you. You just go to thefutureofinc.com/camp. C-A-M-P is all lowercase. Thefutureofinc.com/camp, and set up an appointment with me, and I'd be happy to speak with you, learn more about you and your business, and discuss with you a podcasting strategy that could be viable for you and your business. Denise, what do you have to add? Do we have any more questions coming in?
We do. Let me just go over there quickly. We have, with interview style, let's see, Marcy asked this, with interview style, how do you manage the sound quality of your guest?
Well, there are certain things that you can do, but you have to the only thing you can do is manage your own sound quality. But you can give your guests some good guidelines. For one thing, you can suggest to them that they get a headset like the one MaAnna held up, or something like a Logitech Clear Chat or the Plantronics one that MaAnna recommended, and be in a quiet environment. Shut all bandwidth hogging applications down on your computer, and just use the best equipment that you can. Just using a headset, dedicated good headset, will amp up their sound so much better than if they're just using an earbud. Okay, although the Apple earbuds that you use on your cell phone are not bad. You can get surprising audio quality from that as well. I may have some tips there, another tip that you may want to add that I didn't think of.
Yeah, it depends on how you're recording. So if you're not doing it in a Hangout or something where you can use that kind of USB mic, that's okay too. But it also depends on how you're recording the thing. So if you're coming into something like Skype, there's Pamela, there's a couple of other things like that have two-channel audio. So you separate your voice from the other voice, and you can edit them separately. So if they have, real tinny quality to their side, you can amp that up on just their side without affecting your voice. So sometimes two-channel recording can help a lot with that too, especially if you're doing Audacity or if you're doing Skype or different things like that. If you're doing these, there's really Hangouts on Air. All the audio comes in one channel, and you can't really separate it.
Good point. Thank you.
The other thing to keep in mind is that if you can, avoid using the built-in mic from your computer. You want an external mic.
Yes.
So that's why we keep recommending headsets or the mic that Ellen showed you, because the internal mic or webcam takes up too many resources, and it just isn't as good a quality. So that's one way. Another question that came in is, I saw one here that I wanted to address from Sally. Sally says, being a guest doesn't pay, though, so how does that monetize us? And Sally, being a guest does pay.
Yeah.
Being a guest is a big payoff because it exposes you as the guest to the host's audience. And I think you said you're an author, Sally, so as an author, you want to expose more people to your books. And that's how it pays, is that you get seen and heard and exposure in front of a new audience who may go out and buy your book. So I would being a guest pays big time. I get requests to be on podcasts at least once a week. I'm getting requests now.
And that's gonna go up too, Denise, since yours has been launched.
Yeah, it's gonna go up. I'm sure both of you get requests too, and I pretty much almost always say yes to those interviews, even if it's a smaller, small audience podcast. It's okay because it is living on the web forever.
Yep.
So, for the most part. So, yeah, it does pay.
And that's one of the things that we're going to get into in podcasting camp too. Interviewing has two sides. There's interviewing and there's being interviewed, and there's an art to it, and there's some things that you can do to really ramp that up and make it pay even better. We'll be covering that at camp for sure.
Okay, so there's a lot of chit chat going on between people, which is good. They're helping each other out.
Good.
Pam would like us to repeat the 5 ways to monetize podcasts.
Let's see if I can remember those. One, I think I can. One is your own products and services, right? So, and then another way is what I call because of your podcast. Just the influence and that kind of thing. The other way would be affiliate marketing through affiliate links, resources that people mentioned. Okay, sponsors would be another way, and then another way would be a combination of all of those. And I think that's it.
Excellent. Okay, well, we're about 6 minutes after the hour, and so I think I want to wrap this up because people have other things to do now. I want to thank you for being here with us today. I hope we got a few of your questions answered. Obviously, this is a bigger topic than we can cover fully in an hour. There's some technical people asking technical questions, and we just don't have the opportunity to get into that because everybody's situation is different. So that's why we're having the camp. And we'd like to invite you to come join us in August at beautiful Serenbe Farms and join us at Podcasting Camp. The offer is there in front of you, or you can go to thefutureofinc.com/camp and get all the details there. And there's also an opportunity there for you to request an appointment with Ellen Britt, and she'll answer more of your questions if you have them. So, MaAnna, thank you for being with us today. Appreciate
Delighted to be here.
Thank you, MaAnna.
Look forward to finally meeting you live in real life.
Absolutely.
MaAnna and I have known each other for a few years, and we finally get to meet in person. And Ellen, I see you in person a few times a year, and that's great too. And I can't wait to see you again in August.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to eating some more barbecue with you.
Yes. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you all, and we will see you around the web, and hopefully at Serenbe Farms in August.
Bye, everybody.